Okay, bona fide dispute there. And so the court said that should have been marked as disputed. Pretty good verdict, maybe like $90,000 verdict on that.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? I'm back with another one. And guess what? I promise y'all, if y'all got that last video I made to 1,000 likes, that I was going to drop a special video for y'all. Y'all got that video to 900 likes, but I decided to make this video in preparation of that video hitting 1,000 likes. Now, I know you was wondering what was that at the beginning of the video. Well, that was a lawyer. He was explaining how his client sent a letter off and they did not mark the information disputed. Now that person actually won a $90,000 settlement. And that information that he used is actually public information. So I started looking at law firm at the law firm, lawyer at the lawyer, until I found what method truly works. And I didn't stop there. I started looking up the court cases that coincided with the same exact dispute methods that this guy used to actually get that $90,000. So what I want to do today is I want to give you the step-by-step method that I use, and I want to show you what you should do when you're sending off your next dispute. But hold on. Before I get into the step-by-step process, I want you to do me a huge favor. I want you to send this information out to 5 people who you think will benefit from this game-changing information. So without further ado, let's get into it. I forgot one thing. I got to tell you guys that I am not an attorney. I do not practice law. What I want you guys to do is, if you think that anybody is violating your rights, I want you to look up your nearest consumer lawyer. This information I'm showing you is just for informational purposes only. Okay? All right, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, y'all, without further ado, I got my new mic. I hope y'all like it. So I wanted to talk to you guys about, first things first, I got to tell you guys, I am not a lawyer. This isn't legal advice. If you fall into any of these categories, please contact a consumer lawyer as soon as possible. Okay. So I'm not a lawyer. I'm not allowed to practice law and all that other stuff. This is just for educational purposes only. Without further ado, let's get into it. So we're going to be talking about collection removal. So collection removal. Whoa, back up. So I call it collection removal secrets. So what we want to talk about, number one, is we want to talk about analyzing your credit report. Now, this is very important. Analyzing your credit report is going to make or break your disputes. Okay, so you really have to understand what you're doing. So if you need to watch this video a couple times, I think it's better to watch it with somebody who is on the same journey. And if that person and you can politic and you can talk about, what you see and what you think I'm saying. Okay, because if you leave it up to your own interpretation, you might get lost in the sauce. But the easy way to shortcut this is to talk to a lawyer. So you have to talk to a lawyer anyway, because I don't think you guys know enough about the laws yet in order to do this for yourself. So step one, analyze your credit report. Now I'm going to show you exactly how to analyze your credit report to get to where I'm talking about. Okay, so 1 second, let's keep going. Now, let me back up one. I'm gonna zoom in periodically so I can make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to look at this part of the credit report. This is called the summary phase. All right, so some of you guys are going to be looking on Credit Karma. Some of you guys are going to be looking on Experian. If you do that, that will not get you the information you need for you to be successful. So what I want you to do is down below, I'm going to drop a link for a tri-merge credit report. So it will look something like this. It's going to have TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax on there. Now, when we're doing this method is only for collections. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to identify how many collections we have on a credit report. So as you can see, it lays out all the different items that's on a credit report, but we want to focus on collections. Okay, let me see, can I make a box? We want to focus on collections. Let me back that up. So as you can see, this person has 1 collection on Equifax, 2 collections on Experian, and 5 collection on TransUnion. So this person will be able to do this 5 different times. Now, can you send these letters to the debt collectors from TransUnion to Experian? No. What we're going to do is we're going to actually make letters to go directly to the debt collector. These letters will not go to the credit bureaus, okay? One more time. These letters will not go to the credit bureaus. All right, so after we identified that we have a total of 8 collections, most of these are going to be duplicates. So normally if you have 5 collections, that's 5 is going to fall into these 2 and it's going to fall into that 1. So what that means is you may have only 5 collections, but some collection agencies, they don't report to all 3 to try to save some money, okay? They don't need to report to all of them. They just want to ruin your life with just one of them, okay? So also, if you're following this information, if you are about to be sued or you got a letter, please contact an attorney as soon as possible. Do not try this yourself, because these people ain't playing out here. Debt collectors sue before they actually do anything else. So if you got Midland, LV, Envy, if I call out any of those people, please get to your look up a consumer lawyer as soon as possible. So now, all right, so we want to check to make sure that we want to check the collections to make sure that they do not have a dispute mark. Now, if your collection has a dispute mark, I'm going to talk about how to get rid of that dispute mark in the later slides, but I'm going to go through what a dispute mark actually is. And I'm going to go through everything like super detailed. So you shouldn't have any kind of questions. In that last video, I didn't have too many questions because I went through everything so thorough. So just make sure if you have any confusion, you watch this video back. So this is a credit report, right? And this is a collection from LV Envy Funding. Okay. So what I did was I put some red markers. When I said dispute remarks, this is what I mean. So right here, you see where it says comments. If you go over, you'll see where it says collection account. Now this right here doesn't say the account has been disputed at all. So this is going to be, now when we go through this, I'm going to say some things and I want you probably have to wind it back so you can see. But this one right here has no type of dispute marks, which means the person did not send in the dispute. Now, if a person did send in a dispute, then that will be a violation. All right, so let's move to the next phase. Now, I'll put a split right here, okay? And the reason I put a split right here is because, like I said, if it has this, then that means it doesn't have a dispute mark. So if no, you go down this path. If yes, you go down this path. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the yes path because the yes and the no path, they balance out. So let's go over and see what to do if it says disputed. Now, this is when you call the credit bureaus to get that mark removed and ask for an updated credit report. Now, you don't have to do this step, but to get the violations that I want, you will do this step 10 times out of 10. Because later in the video, I'm going to show you what to do if they put a new dispute mark on there, and that's going to be a violation. So what's going to happen is it's going to be 2 different ways you can get a violation, okay? So now once the dispute remark is removed, I want you to go to this next step. So this is where the steps kind of align with each other. So if no and if yes, you do this step right here. So let me zoom in right here. So in the last video I did, I showed you guys why I sent this letter, but I didn't show you like the aftermath of why to send this letter in this type of capacity. So all you have to do is you have to, date the letter. You have to note who the letter is going to, and you have to identify the account. Now, the account number is these 5 digits. Now, I know a lot of people in the comments will say, hey, what if the account number has X's, this and that? So this is what I did, and I'm going to show you. So I got account, and then I got the balance right here. So let me back up real quick. And I put arrows. So what I want you to do is I want you to annotate the account number, and I want you to annotate the amount that you owe. Oh, sorry. So this can be the balance, this can be the past due amount, and this can be like the credit high. But what I want you to do is I want you to put the balance, okay? So if the balance is 100, I want you to put 100. All right, and with the account number, so let's go back to the account number. So the account number has these things on the end. These things on the end of the account number, you don't need to put these. So what I did was, for that one, it didn't have these in the front. It had a bunch of these in the front, and then it had a couple of numbers in the back. So that's what I used, okay? And that's why it's important to have that tri-merge credit report, because if you don't have that tri-merge credit report, then you may not get the numbers that you need, all right? And you're gonna need that dispute comment section too. So then you can say something like, I can't pay this debt, or I refuse to pay this debt. Now, I refuse to pay this debt is the simplest way you can go about it, and you're going to get the best results doing that. So what you want to do is you do want to get a tracking slip. So you want to get this tracking slip right here, fill it out, send it to this place, and then you want to write your tracking number on it as well. And side note, if you do all this work and then you just take a picture of it, that way you can have it for your records, just in case the company says they didn't get it. They will, or they could say they didn't get it, and having a picture of it will definitely be in your favor. I promise you. Now, let's keep going. Now, I love for you guys to fact check me, because I don't like to sit up here and say stuff and not know what I'm talking about. So what I want you to do is I want you to type this in. I want you to go to Google and I want you to type this in, and I want you to follow along with me. Now, if you're using it for your phone, just watch the video all the way through and then go back and watch it later. Okay, so 15 USC 1692. This is Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. So that is the law that governs the debt collectors. But we're going to this specific section in that law, and it's called CC. It's communicating with a debt collector. Well, I'm sorry, ceasing communication. See, man, y'all gotta check me. Uh-oh, what'd I do? Okay. So, ceasing communication. If a consumer notifies a debt collector in writing that the consumer refuses to pay a debt, or that the consumer wishes the debt collector to cease further communication with the consumer, the debt collector shall not communicate further with the consumer with respect to such debt. All right, except. And once we go to accept, these are 3 ways that they can communicate with you. Okay, so this is very important. And this is why I wrote the letter, because I told them I'm not going to pay the debt. So I told them I told them that I'm not going to pay the debt. So basically, I told them that I refuse to pay. Okay, so now they can contact me to advise the consumer that the debt collector's further efforts are being terminated. So they can say, hey man, we don't want no smoke. Y'all good. Don't, we not gonna mess with you. Okay. So, or to notify a consumer that the debt collector or creditor may invoke special remedies which are ordinarily invoked by such debt collector or creditor. Now, remedies can mean a lot of things. From my understanding, remedies mean like they're gonna take you to court. They're gonna try to remedy the situation. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna try to figure it out. Now, where applicable, to notify the consumer that the debt collector or creditor intends to invoke a specified remedy. Now, like, they might just say, hey, we're going to court. So that's why I'm telling you guys to get a lawyer as soon as possible. Now, if such notice from the consumer is made by mail, notification shall be complete upon receipt. All right. And that's why we're going to send it certified, because we want to know when our letter actually got there, because we don't need for them to say they never got it or take too long to respond back, because there are different laws that they have to follow. All right. So important. All right. So wait 30 to 45 days for your update and keep track of all communication. Now, this is very important. Now, they're not supposed to even be contacting you. So that's why you want to keep your communications. Okay. Now, I added something special down here. Let's take a look. Uh-oh. This is a tracking number. Okay. So what this does is it tells you the exact date, time, or whatever, whenever the information got to the debt collector. Okay. So I don't remember which one this is specifically, but it got the time and the date on here. All right. Now with this information, you can pretty much start the clock on your 30 days. All right. Now, when you send this, now when you send this, you don't have to get the return receipt or nothing like that. You can just use this tracking thing online. So they're going to give you the number. So only thing you got to do is, you got to put in that number right there. And then you can watch your package from your computer or your phone. All right, let's continue. All right, I put a little note there. Let's see what that little note say. Oh, okay. Let me make that bigger so you guys can see. Nothing special. So what we want to do is when the debt collector is responding to us, we want to, because once we send this letter off, we might get a letter back. We might get a phone call, we might get a text, or we might get an email. So what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to record every call from the debt collector. Also, I want you to keep every letter, email, and text. Now, I was going to insert a recording from my lawsuit, but legally, I don't think I can divulge that information. So, yeah, I was going to do that, but in hindsight, that was might have been a bad idea. Okay. But I'll check with my attorney. All right. So now we want to check for our updated report after we waited for the 45 days. Now, for the good part. Now, if you have a violation, and I got two ifs. If they do not respond back to you, you don't got a violation. Okay. But if the debt collector reaches out to you, I'm going back to this law and I put some arrows. We have to make sure if this debt collector reaches back out to us and we say we refuse to pay this debt, is what you should write in your letter. Or if you say cease further communication, which I don't suggest you put, the debt collector shall not communicate further with the consumer, which is you. Now, why I do not want you to put cease further communication? These companies send out thousands and thousands of letters every single day. And what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to understand that there's no human interaction in reading your letters at all. At all. So when you say I refuse to pay the debt, some of these people have outdated information, so they machines don't even know what that is. Now, if it gets into a human hands, of course they're going to see it and they're going to stop or they're going to do whatever, right? But if it was to go through a machine and they see it, what they're going to do is they're going to automatically send out a debt validation notice, because these machines aren't smart. And quite frankly, these people don't want to even fix the problem. So two things can happen. All right. They can communicate with you and then you get this violation, or they can do the other thing. Let me see. Give me a second. Now, the other thing they can do is they can mark the item disputed. Okay. So that's the reason why I told you to remove that dispute marker. Okay. So as you seen in the beginning, you might have to rewind it, what the dispute marker looks like, but I'm about to show you what it looks like when they mark the item disputed. And if they do this after you send that letter, then you also got another violation. which can get you big money. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in on here. Oh, actually, I'm going to make this bigger so you guys can see. Now, do you guys see how that information changed in the comment section? It says account information disputed by consumer meets FCRA requirements. Now, here's the best thing about sending that letter saying that I refuse to pay. That was not a dispute. Well, this says that the information was disputed, and that was a lie. So that company would have sent a letter to TransUnion or told TransUnion or informed TransUnion that you sent off a dispute to that collection agency. But that was not a dispute. It was a communication telling you, and this is very, very important, so I need you to eliminate distractions. You told them that you refused to pay a debt, but they put it through a Scantron or some type of system. So the system read the letter and they was like, oh, this is a dispute. It looks like a dispute letter. But no, it wasn't a dispute letter. So now that company didn't even do its job. They just lied on you. And I don't know if the lawyer said it, like they're gonna say that it wasn't a bona fide error. All right, now let's look at one more. Or it could look like this. Now, if you guys have something else in your comment section, let me know down below in the chat and let me know what it is. It could say dispute resolved. Consumer disagrees. But guess what? You never ever disputed the information. You just said, hey, I'm not paying. I'm not going to pay you. I refuse to pay. That's not a dispute. Now, if that information is put on your credit report, then you got a problem. All right. So let's go back over it. If a debt collector reaches out to you after you sent that refusal to pay, that's a violation. If the item is marked disputed, that is another violation. So just make sure that your credit report don't have no disputed stuff on there, right? So you're like, hey, call the credit bureaus up, say, hey, I'm trying to get a house, I'm trying to get a car, whatever. I don't want the item marked disputed anymore. Can you remove that remark and then send me an updated credit report? Once you get that updated credit report, then you're ready to go. All right. Now, because I'm not a lawyer, what I want you to do is I want you to call a consumer lawyer. All right. So what I want you to do is I want you to call a consumer lawyer, or I want you to reach out to me and Dave. All right. We're contract paralegals and we work for a number of law firms, a network of law firms where we can probably send you to the right law firm. But if it is a dire situation, what I want you to do is I want you to Google consumer lawyer in my area or something like that. Okay. Because if you're about to get sued or your wages are about to get garnished, I don't want you guys to wait on me. To be honest, I don't want you guys to wait on me anyway. That's why we're making these videos. Okay. All right. But I also have some bonus information for you. Okay. What's the bonus information? Now, you can do this. Now, I'm just giving you this as advice. I'm not a lawyer and I don't practice law, and I can't help you in the event that you're getting sued unless I refer you to a lawyer or something like that. And that's the best I can do. All right. So if any of these things happen, what you can do is you can call the company up and you can tell them you want to speak to the legal department. Okay. Now, this can go one or two ways. I'm gonna give you the bad news first because I like my dessert last. Okay, so the bad news that can happen when you do this is the company can trip you up to saying that it's not your debt or something like that, or they can just flat out lie to you and get you scared and nervous, and then you don't want to pull the trigger on doing anything. That's like the bad news. Okay. Or they can try to sue you right away or something like that, or that they might, they might actually, well, I guess the worst thing they could do is sue you. Now, they could like remove the thing from your credit report because they know they got in trouble, XYZ. But if you talk to a lawyer, if you speak with a lawyer, you still might be able to handle yourself. Okay. The good news can be you can negotiate a settlement. The good news could be that you could negotiate a settlement right there over the phone. If you're talking to anybody that's competent, that knows that they broke the law, that experienced this same information or experienced this same thing, then you can probably get compensated right then and there. Is this normal to get compensated right then and there? No. I don't know any company that don't say that it's maybe an accident or it didn't happen, or they're going to make up some type of story to try to get out of it. I have a recording right now of me talking to a lawyer, and the lawyer was basically saying that it was an error. They gave me some court cases that they won, and they did a bunch of different things that didn't amount to nothing because I had a lawyer on my team. Okay. Now, good news and bad news. Bad news is you can get sued right then and there, or you can scare yourself up or something like that. Good news, you could get the collection removed, or you can possibly get compensated right then and there. But I advise you to go to a lawyer. Now, bonus information number 2. You can do what I did. You can draft up a demand letter and file it in federal court. If you don't know what any of these words are, don't do it. Do not do it at all. Okay? Don't go look it up. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I'm not even going to hint at it. So the good and bad news about that is, good news is you possibly can win your case if you know what you're doing. Now, for the good news on this one, I'm not going to go too in detail because I don't want to get nobody in trouble for real. Okay? I want you guys to do the best you can, and I hope you get your deletions, and I'm rooting for you. Now, the bad news is now you're going up against some lawyers who know the law, and they can whoop you in court if they want to. That's why I opt for, one more time, Mike's advice. Mike's advice is do the best you can, learn from this channel. And what I want you to do is I want you to find a lawyer or reach out to me and Dave and figure out how to get in contact with a lawyer in your area. Now, we can help you in many different ways as far as helping you fix your credit. We can teach you how to do it. We can give you some letters. We can give you some training. We can give you some specified stuff that we do that we don't tell nobody, and it's going to help your credit score. Now, my main thing is, if you do this method right here, if you try to attempt it, I want you to consult with a lawyer. All right? If you send out that letter and then they come back and they say, hey, your information has been verified, and they give you all type of notices or whatever, no. I want you to go get that lawyer. If they mark the item disputed and you call them or something and they start talking all crazy like, hey, no, it was a dispute, blah, 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 I want you to go get a lawyer. Mike's advice is always going to be go get a lawyer or come work with a team. All right. All right, guys, I know that was a lot of information. I'm glad you guys stuck to the end. I love you for that. I promise you. Number one thing, though, I want you to try to find a lawyer in your area. Number 2, you can go ahead and write up these letters. Number 3, send it out and see what type of results you get. The worst thing that can happen is you get a lawyer and you get paid. You know what I'm saying? Best thing that can happen is you send off that letter and you get a deletion right then and there. You get the house of your dream, you get the car of your dream, you get funding for your business and all that other stuff that you probably want. All right. So with that being said, I'll see you on the other side of good credit. Peace.